I believe that Veracity's ecosystem token called VRA is absolutely unbelievable. And even though that's not financial advice, the reason why is because going to the price of 50 cents during this bull run, that right there wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And take this into consideration. VRA going to the price of 50 cents, that right there is around a 116x from here. That's kind of insane. That's over a 100x. And now, I'm not guaranteeing anything. I can't tell the future. I can only speculate. But going to the price of 50 cents, it doesn't seem all that crazy to me, at least, because if it were to go to that price, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $5 billion, which is kind of peanuts in my opinion, because we've seen Shiba Inu reach around 40 billion, we've seen Dogecoin reach over 80 billion, we've seen BNB reach over 100 billion. So I'm not saying that VRA is going to start achieving these record-breaking figures or anything like that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, let's say, hey man, it's going to go to like a $300 billion market cap. Let's say hypothetically going to around a $5 billion market cap. I don't see why that's so crazy, at least in my opinion. Now, some people may think that, okay, Veracity doesn't have the fundamentals to allow for that to happen. I completely disagree because Veracity, it's aiming to bring trust and transparency to digital advertising and as well as payments. Now, the payments market, it feels a little bit oversaturated. I kind of get that. But the digital advertising aspect is, I think, the real McCoy here. I think this right here is something that's going to hypothetically be the real deal, because if we take a look at Veracity's ecosystem, most notably, there is something called Veraviews. And Veraviews is allegedly an open ledger advertising ecosystem built around Veracity's patented proof of view fraud identification technology. Now, this right here is amazing because Veraviews is allegedly the most powerful, transparent, and auditable advertising ecosystem for preventing ad fraud based on open ledger principles. So if you think about that, there's a key takeaway here: preventing ad fraud. This right here is often noted to be a very big problem. And again, it could even be predicted to be potentially a bigger problem in the future, because even if we take a look at this study done by Juniper Research, and this is actually an article by Forbes, it is estimated that by 2028, so it's not even that far away, we're already in 2025, Happy New Year's, by the way, it is expected that over $170 billion will be wasted due to ad fraud, again, by 2028. This is predicted to. And this could hypothetically just be a lowball figure. We just don't know. And this is kind of insane because this is actually bigger than some countries' GDP. So if you think about it, ad fraud, again, it's a big problem right now, but it could even maybe be a bigger problem in the future. So something like Veraviews could potentially help reduce that problem, let's say. That's a big thumbs up for me. Now, is let's say Veraviews going to have the best adoption in the next 6 months to, let's say, 10 months? Absolutely not, in my opinion. Now, some people may be shocked at this because they're like, oh, what do you mean by this? Aren't you bullish on Veracity? Yeah, of course I'm bullish on Veracity, but then I have to be realistic because I don't think it's going to happen. Mass scale adoption for, let's say, something like Veracity, or more specifically in this case, Veraviews, it's going to take years. And it's not going to see that, in 2025, in my opinion. I think it could see okay adoption. I don't think it could see like large mass scale adoption. That's just my perspective. But it doesn't really matter because during a fully fledged bull run, people usually care about the narrative. They care about what something could be. They care about the market it's focused on, as opposed to adoption in its current form, if that makes sense. Because if you take a look at Solana, a lot of people, they're anticipating that it's going to do well in the future. They say that, oh, Solana has this good reputation, so they're hoping that eventually it's going to do fantastic in the long run. But then, as of right now, does Solana have good adoption? I don't think so, because it's primarily known for meme coins. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm bullish on some Solana meme coins. Like, for instance, I'm bullish on Myro, I'm bullish on Maneki, I like Wen. Of course, something like Book a Meme, Dog with Hat has done very well, historically speaking. But even despite that, that doesn't necessarily mean that Solana has good adoption. You know what I mean? It has good meme coins on it, but it doesn't mean that it has fantastic A+ adoption, in my opinion. But still, again, Solana has done very well. So when it comes to VRA, I don't see why that hypothetically won't be the case as well during this bull run, because I think when people take a look at Veraviews, they take a look at Veracity overall, they take a look at VRA, they're like, hey, this could hypothetically be something amazing, at least in theory. Now, only time will tell, but there's actually more aspects to this because, for instance, Veraviews is amazing in a sense that its setup time is allegedly only around 5 minutes, so it's actually not even that long to set up anyways. Not to mention accuracy rate is over 97% allegedly, and yeah, when you think about that, that's actually very impressive. Now, there hasn't really been that many reviews as to how well, people may think Veraviews is, at least from what I've seen. But judging from these figures right here, and also judging from just how amazing Verasity is, fundamentally speaking, I would assume that these figures really do showcase how fantastic Veraviews is overall. Now, not to mention, if we take a look at VRA, it does play a very vital role actually within all of this, because, for instance, in the case of Veraviews, in its advertising stack, it can be used for funding ad campaigns. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. Not to mention, VRA can be used on something called the Vera Wallet, and allegedly rewards by staking VRA on the Vera Wallet per year can hypothetically generate, again, allegedly, up to 15%. So that's pretty impressive in my opinion. Now, there's currently hundreds of thousands of Vera Wallet users. There's over 500,000 community members and over 20 language communities. And it's even been awarded 6 patents so far. So yeah, the way I take a look at Verasity overall, it's a very amazing project. Not to mention, if you take a look at the global digital ad spending market size is expected to surpass $1 trillion by 2032. Again, by 2032, I was going to say 2030, but yeah, it's actually 2032. But even besides that, this is according to President's research. So the way to take a look at Verasity is that it's a very impressive project overall. And again, 50 cents, I don't see why not. There's currently over 600 million crypto owners, according to Crypto.com research. So this is more than ever before in history. And some people think that this doesn't really matter, but in terms of generating that retail FOMO, buying pressure, buying volume, that's really going to matter during a fully fledged bull run. And because VRA is so low in price, just seeing somewhat of a decent volume that could already be hypothetically pretty, or should I say good enough for it to, let's say, do very well in terms of percentage increase. And the crazy thing about Verasity is that the hypothetical upside feels like a meme coin when it comes to, again, its ecosystem token called VRA. But then on the flip side, it's not a meme coin. So it's kind of insane to see. Usually, when people think about things that could do over a 100x, they typically think about meme coins, right? At least for most people. But then the crazy thing about VRA is that it's lower than many of the popular meme coins that we know of today. But then again, at the same time, it's actually a very rock solid, fundamentally amazing project. So this is kind of insane to see. Hypothetical upside feels like a meme coin, but fundamentals feels A+. So this is kind of a win-win in either scenario, in my opinion, because usually a meme coin, hypothetical upside is good, but then the fundamentals are caca. But then on the flip side, sometimes we see these fundamentally amazing projects, but then the room for growth really isn't that dynamic. So I think this right here is very impressive. Now, I'm not going to say that, hey, I'm only going to be acquiring VRA in my portfolio because, of course, that'd be crazy. I'm not going to do that. But then what I am going to do is dollar cost average. And of course, VRA has to be one of my pieces in my portfolio because I think it's important, at least for me. And again, there's always going to be risk with everything. I totally understand that. But anytime an income, I'm acquiring VRA, I'm holding, and I'm just waiting. That's it. VRA has dumped by a lot. Let's face it. Market cap is looking complete caca. Price action is also caca. But you know what? As the old saying goes, during a fully fledged bull run, a high tide raises all ships. Take a look at Luna Classic. That found a bottom. And is anyone really going to say that Luna Classic is better than this? Come on. Luna Classic is off into the abyss. That thing, even despite that, the project has no future in my opinion. People treat it even worse than a meme coin, but even still despite that, found a bottom and had a good pump. Also take a look at Klima DAO. Some people would argue that all the hype left, but then that still found a bottom and pumped. In a sense, it didn't do the best, but it still found a bottom. Also take a look at Litecoin. Now, Litecoin is a little bit of a different story because many people actually believe in it, but I think it's a little bit caca. And even still, despite that, in 2021, take a look at the heights that it reached. So if you take a look at this time around, again, with more cryptocurrency owners than ever before in history, allegedly, and not to mention, even according to Charles Hoskinson, he could very well see Bitcoin reaching anywhere between $250,000 all the way up to $500,000 in the next 1 to 2 years, based on a video that he was a part of back in November. I mean, could you imagine that? If, let's say, Bitcoin just reaches $250,000, VRA at the price of 50 cents could seem a little bit bearish at that time, in my opinion. Now, also on top of that, people like to say that, oh yeah, Bitcoin, it's already reached its peak, but I disagree. I think there's better days ahead. Bitcoin is still struggling to maintain $100,000. Imagine 150,000, 200, 250,000 maybe. man, the sky's the limit for something like VRA, but it's just a waiting game, which is why I'm still staying patient. But I think sometime in 2025, this could be fantastic. And I'm staying patient because, again, 50 cents during this war run wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's going to lead the captain. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.